In the following video tutorial, we're going to go over how to use the editor window to add content and to edit your content on your website. To begin, you're going to want to go to your admin functions and go to edit site pages. In this case, I'm going to use the editor window demo page that I've created, and I'm going to go to edit page when I hover over the bar. You will see the editor window come up on this page, and it's the large blank window in this case because I don't have any content in there, that has a toolbar along the top. So to start, I'm going to just go ahead and I've got some pre-written content here. I'm going to copy and paste it into the window. And we can go ahead and start to format this. So looking at the toolbar up above, you may recognize a lot of the tools here from other editing types of programs. But just understand that when you are editing the content in the website, that it is different than using a third-party program such as Microsoft Word or Google Documents, Google Docs, because the final format is going to be in HTML. And so kind of what do I mean by that? Well, you'll be able to see the source of this if you were to click on source. Up here in the upper left hand corner, you can see some of the HTML tags that are being written around the document or the content itself. So let's do a few things to this just so that you can kind of get an idea. So I'm going to highlight introduction here, and I'm going to change it from normal to heading. And in this case, you see that it gave that function to the entire paragraph, and that's not exactly what I want to have happen here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to back it up one. I'm going to create a new paragraph. And now I'm going to take this, and instead of being heading 1, I want that to just be normal. Okay. So the same type of thing here. So I can go ahead and I'm going to back it off 1. I'm going to create a new paragraph. And in this case, I want to maybe create a heading 3 or a heading 2 for the size of the header there. On pages, it's actually good to use the heading 1, 2, 3 in that order, actually, of importance of the content on the page. Some people will choose not to use that and just use bold, but in terms of the way that it should be done, you should be using the headings. Now, let's look at the font. In this case, there was not a font assigned, so it's giving it a basic font. Personally, I like to use Arial and Verdana. Tahoma is another good one. I personally like the sans serif fonts. That means without. So this would be like, for example, Times New Roman would be a serif font. I just find that the sans serif fonts are easier to read, especially in web content. Another issue would be if you were to use, for example, Comic Sans. While that is kind of a popular font, it actually does not show up very well on all devices, particularly Apple Mac devices. They don't even have Comic Sans as an option. And so what will happen is the content, or the editor itself, the browser that's viewing it, will try to substitute that font with something on its device, and the results are not always desirable. So I would say to stick with Arial or Tahoma or Verdana if possible. Now, you do have the ability to change other things such as the color of the font. So you can change it to blue or whatever color you would like from this color picker. Make sure you highlight it before you change the color. And then we also do have some features such as a highlight feature in here. So if you highlight the text and then give it a background color, you can highlight it. And then of course you can also change the size of the font. So if I take it to a 16, for example, there you go. So those are some of the ways that you can change the font styles. And in general, I say keep it basic. I wouldn't do too much with it, but it does allow you to make some changes. You do also have a spell checker in here as well, just to let you know. Okay, so let's take a look here. What else do we have? We have the ability to add an image. So I'm going to just come down here to a new line, and I'm going to use the insert image button. And when I go here, I'm going to go to my file vault. No, excuse me. I'm gonna upload a new image. I'm gonna go right here to the browse function. I'm gonna find a new image to upload to the page. Now, you'll notice when I click browse and then I select the item and hit open, it doesn't appear yet. I have to actually click the upload button first. And I already did this once, so it's just telling me that it's going to rename that item with a 1 next to it. So, okay, I got it. And now you'll see that the image has applied itself to the page. And you can actually go in and change the size a little bit of this if you wish as well. Click and drag from the corner. It is good to make sure that you size your image before you upload it so that it's actually not overly large. In this case it wasn't bad because it was only, I don't know, 650 pixels wide or something like that to begin with, but if you were to upload a full-size image, you may want to resize it first for the website. Let's see. Let's take a look at some of these other tools here. So this would be if I highlight this content right here and I come up here, you have the ability to do cut and paste. I like to use the keyboard shortcuts for this. So for example, I would use Control or Command X to cut and Control or Command V to paste. But you can also accomplish that in other ways. So you can right click and cut or copy, and you can right click to paste. So there are multiple ways to actually do this. So and then the other thing would be, so for example, if I wanted to come up here and hit copy and now come down here and paste. So you can copy and paste your content. Now there's one thing that I would warn against doing too much copy and paste from other websites. Number one, that content is written by somebody else and actually copywritten by somebody else. But let's just say, for example, you have other content that you wanted to copy and paste from a website. It's going to copy the code in the background, and sometimes that code in the background is not going to translate well to the website. You're saying, well, what code is going to come through? If I hit source right now, you'll see some of the tags that are written by this editor in here. And these are tags that were written by the editor and therefore are working just fine. The editor that was used to write whatever content you're copying and pasting may include content that does not work very well for the website, or may have naming conventions that does not work very well. So in those types of situations, what I would actually recommend you do, let me copy this once, let me just show you. I'm going to copy this and I'm going to paste it into I'm off screen here, but I'm pasting it into a, it's basically a notepad document, notes or notepad. And when I copy it from a simple text document and paste it back in here, you'll see that the formatting that I've already done to it has been stripped away. That's actually a very good trick for you if you happen to come across content that is giving you problems on your page. So another thing that administrators will try to do is, let me give you an example here. I'm going to write date, time, and you might want to put and let's see, put a time here of 9 o'clock. Whoops, 9 o'clock p.m. Okay, so you might want to try to do some formatting to this, and you want to use your space bar to do that formatting. That's actually not a very good idea, because let me show you here. All of these spaces, those spaces are actually bits of code. So if I come in here, you're going to see all of these right here. And that can cause a lot of layout problems for you. So rather than doing such a type formatting, you'll want to keep things, either keep them simple and format like this, or you'll want to learn to just basically use your tools up here that are for left align, center, and right align. You could also choose to put in a very simple table. So I'm going to enter a table here, and I'm going to do, for example, 2 rows. I'm only going to give this a width of 150, and it's got 2 columns, and you'll see this pop in here. And actually, I think what I want to do, let me go to the table properties, I'm going to make this 200 wide. And so what I could do is go into this and type my date, time, and that's just another way to format it in such a way that it kind of works for the website. It can be a little tricky sometimes using the tables, but once again, I would always kind of go back to keeping it as simple as possible when you are formatting your information. So let's take a look here. Let's see. Another option that you have for your formatting up here are lists. So I'm going to just go in here and I'm going to type items. And I'm going to click on the list item, and it brings out, and it's automatically numbered if you're using the numbered lists, or bulleted if you're using the bulleted list. So using the lists can be very helpful as well. I don't believe I actually went over this, but it's this is actually one of the ones that's fairly simple. I'm just going to, you'll see right now that it's currently left aligned, and you can center it, right align, or doing justification there. another one would be up here. This is the enter a horizontal line. The horizontal line goes all the way across. This would be preferred rather than, for example, some people like to want to put in a underscore. So I'm going to click on Shift and the underscore button here and create a line. The problem with doing this is that it actually is a physical line at this point, and it can break the layout within your page. Specifically, for example, on the home page and other places where the content area is somewhat narrow. So you want to avoid that, and if you want to create a horizontal line, the best thing to use would be the insert horizontal line like I've done here, because that will automatically stretch to be the width of what your content area is available. Alright, so the next thing I want to kind of cover would be adding a link. So let's just say that you're in the content area here and you want to add a link for contacting you. So what you would do is you would type in your content, your link phrase, the link phrase here being contact us. And in this case, what I want to do is I want to just come up here and I'm going to copy the link. And if you were to copy a link from a website or any other place, the process is the same. What you'll do is you'll highlight the content that you want to be a link, and you'll go to the link button, and in the URL field you want to paste that URL. In this case, you do have the ability to also show whether or not you want to target the same window. If you don't do anything at all, if you don't choose this, it will automatically redirect the user within the same window. But if you wanted to pop that open in a new window, you could actually choose new window as an option. I'm going to leave it as not set, and then you'll see that it's there as a link. So this kind of goes over the basics of how to use this page. You know what, there's a couple others that are fairly simple here that I didn't go over, which were you know, the bold, italicized, underline, and even strike through. You know, you have the ability to go in and use this for other things. You know, these are the subscript and superscript. Those are things that you might not necessarily use all the time, but the option is there. And then one other thing that I'll show you real quick, I'm going to go down to a new line here. And I'm going to go and copy a link for a YouTube video. And that is what this is for here. This button is for inserting a YouTube video. When you click on it, you can just simply paste the YouTube video that you have copied and click OK. And this is basically telling you that it's only going to appear as an icon on the page. You have to save it in order for it to go live, and OK, you got it. So you'll see here it's showing up on the page, but it's just a blank box. In order for that to actually display, you actually need to go down and click on Save Changes in order to see it. One thing to notice down here at the bottom, notify 3 members that this page has been updated. This number will be reflected by the number of people who you have on your website who would be receiving a notification of an update to a page. If you don't check this box, a notification won't be set out. Otherwise, if you want to check it, then that would trigger that notification. I like to leave mine off while I'm working on a page. That way I may go through variations of the page before I'm ready to tell people that it's ready to go. So I'm going to click on Save Changes. And this is the editor window page that I was just working on. You'll see what I've worked on here, the images, the video that I added. And that's it. That's basically how you use the Edit Site Pages area for editing the content of your page. One thing again to remember, I think I just said this, but you do need to remember to hit Save Changes. If you don't and you leave the page, those changes will be gone. There's no way to get them back. So that is about it. That's how you use the editor window for Edit Site Pages. Thank you very much.